Good day, ladies and gentlemen. We're glad you're watching. Thank you so much for making time to join us. This is Sound Candid Talk, open forum political discussion show, the show that gives you an opportunity to air what you feel and think about the latest development on our political front. Well, a lot has gone down, most of it very confusing. That is why we are all here to make sense of our politics and ease life for the masses. Well, as we start out, mixed reactions from different Kenyans about the pact signed between Raila Odinga and William Ruto. Some leaders are for the pact, others are against the same. And so are different Kenyans from different walks of life, everybody having their opinion and expressing it freely. That will form part of our discussion tonight, even as we start to engage on this platform. Therefore, we urge you to invite somebody to join in the discourse, even as we settle down on the same. While that is going on, there is also a flashback, and that is looking at Raila Odinga's political playbook. How does he win by losing every time? We'll be looking at a story put together on William Ruto being the third president that had to seek a deal with Raila Odinga. What is this about Raila Odinga that makes every president not able to function without seeking his help? Is that capacity of Raila Odinga to be emulated or to be shunned from? Remember, Raila Odinga stepping into politics, he wasn't alone. There were many other people who are referred to as young thugs in the 90s, 80s, and majority of those young thugs are no longer on the forefront of the Kenyan politics. But Raila Odinga seems to be still a key player, despite so many hurdles along the way in his pursuit of being a leader of this great country. Well, we'll be also observing that, and then, of course, getting the most appropriate conclusion on the same. I want to salute everybody who is joining us from wherever you are. Please be on the forefront to share the link and invite more people to join. It is important that we all look at this keenly and be able to analyze accurately. I know there are those who are out to push a particular narrative of hate and mockery and despising of the leaders, which, in my opinion, is against what the Bible requires of us, those of you who are Christians. And today was Mother's Day. It's about to be concluded. So happy Mother's Day to all mothers who are great supporters of this channel. Thank you so much for your faithful followership. And we look forward to having a great interaction, even as we look at various angles of this particular nation and its leadership. Well, there is also a spirited and a great push for who succeeds Wafula Chebukati, even as Wafula Chebukati is buried today amidst political high tones that resulted into William Ruto losing his cool and, as usual, raining on those that have dissenting voices about his decisions. Well, this seems to be part and parcel of the dealings that William Ruto and his operations are concerned. So karibuni sana, naomba tafadhali tumakinike kukaribishana watu waingie show. Samahani, nimekuwa sipatikani kwa muda, na is because I'm on medication and my doctor thinks I should keep off. So I will be here shortly, and then, of course, I will do the necessary, and thereafter I'll go back to my bed rest. But for now, I want us to engage and tell each other the truth and not pursue endless wherever tribal and hate mongering. I believe we have a say in how this country is governed, and we have something to say about the direction of the country. And then, of course, the political players are political players. And these political players play with various end goals. And some of those end goals, you are not the determinant factor. And therefore, you need to be able to read through and be able to tell where can you play as a player in the matter. And of course, not end up being a victim of what's happening. But I want to thank everybody for your continued support and followership of this channel. Tafadhali tukaribishane. We need to get more people joining. Where have people gone to? Let's get more people coming through, even as we start with our first story, and that is various leaders having various responses to the MOU signed by Raila Odinga and William Ruto. Please makinika, karibisha mtu ili tukaendelee kwa pamoja kuangazia masuala haya na tukubaliane kwamba ni muhimu wa Kenya kuzungumza na ni muhimu pia wa Kenya kutafuta haki na ukweli. Okay? Sio kusimamia tu kila ambacho kinakufaa, kila ambacho unapenda. The best of all human beings is the one who is considerate of the next human being. The moment you are inconsiderate as far as the next human being is concerned, you become abnormal. And if not great care is taken, you become almost animal in treating others, or the best word is mistreating others. And so I really need us to engage soberly and be able to get things rolling the right way. Various leaders and their expressions about the MOU.
Various leaders across the country have expressed mixed reactions to the MOU signed Friday between President William Ruto and ODM leader Raila Odinga. While some welcome it as a step towards uniting Kenyans, others see it as a betrayal of the forces pushing for good governance in the country. NTV's Yugen Nambeka begins our broadcast tonight.
A day after signing of the 10-point agreement between President Ruto and ODM leader Raila Odinga, leaders from across the political divide have come out to share their views. While some believe it may help ease political tensions, others have termed it an act of betrayal.
I want to say here today, we support ile handshake ya Raila na rais wetu Ruto, kwa sababu itafanikisha maendeleo na pia kuleta uwiano katika nchi yetu.
We wish ODM well. Kiwa wameona waingia kwa serikali, hiyo Raila ametenda yake. Sasa wacha Wakenya wamebaki wakiwa peke yao huko nje.
However, for former Mosop MP Vincent Tuwei, President Ruto has lost direction and this move could sink his political ship.
Our current president is confused. He doesn't know where to go, what to do. They are all expecting Raila to give a decision. Let me tell you, do not rely on Raila. He can change 11th hour na hamuna mahali pa kwenda. Don't be surprised. Musitegemee yeye. Mulifanya boko makosa juzi kufukuza Kashagwa bila plan.
Jubilee Party Secretary General Jeremiah Kioni also criticized the deal, arguing that Raila did not consult Azimio members before making the move. He warned that the agreement could jeopardize the NADCO report and efforts to establish a credible electoral commission.
We were all over here at Azimio tukitafuta kura. Hata kama kweli umeamua kwenda, kwa nini usiambie wale mmekuwa na wao ya kwamba naenda?
According to Kioni, the coalition was not formed to serve the interests of Kenyans.
Before we got into the NADCO report, we had agreed that we do not want anything written in the NADCO report. Two things: cost of living and compensation of those who had been killed. It was not done there. Then, I can assure you, with William Ruto and having gotten Baba inside, it will not be done.
ule wizi umekuwa ukiendelea, sasa ukome. Ile maneno ambayo mengi mambaya ya kuangamiza ungatuzi katika taifa la Kenya, sasa tuone ukome. Na ikiwa hayo mambo hayataisha, basi haina budi tutaona kama wananchi wa Kenya ya kwamba waliingia pale wakule.
As the debate rages on, many Kenyans remain at a crossroads, questioning the future of the opposition in the country's political landscape. Yugen Nambeka, NTV.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for staying tuned as we start our conversation. The link to use to get in the studio is already in the comment section. Please click on it, allow StreamYard to configure for you the camera as well as the audio. And then, of course, you will be in this space for us to engage. And I want to urge everyone, please, let's engage soberly, maturely, and civilly. Using of and becoming language is not part of our stand on this particular channel, and blanket judgment is also not allowed. So tafadhali to engage soberly and on the grounds that you have evidence to substantiate your claim. Dahi Abdi, thank you so much for being here. Esther Stoll, good evening to you. Thank you so much. Jesus protect. Okay. Thank you for being here. Nasema Mother Karua will not be deputized, but she will be our next AG. M&A, thank you for being here. Tuni Muhamuda wa PS, asante sana, karibu kwa show. To Makinike Juliet Musalia. Yes, Juliet Musalia, karibu kwa show. It's been a long time. I'm here again. Thank you so much for your support and prayers. Peter Davis, karibu kwa show. Your comment, I don't take it kindly. Please, let's watch our language and, of course, stand within our balance. I don't think some of the comments you are giving now there, you would want that to be used to you. I believe in the golden rule: do to others what you would then do to you. And then, of course, the government does not belong to a particular class of people. That's my belief, and I think I'm entitled to the same. In this country, we don't have two classes of Kenyans: those to be in government and those to be not in government. And that somebody joins government or goes to work with government, he now becomes a devil, he becomes an evil spirit, and all manner of names. To me, it's uncalled for, and I think I call it immature. That's my humble opinion. Is immature and is not reasoning as an elder or as a father in the home. So let's make sure that we are sober about the current state of our country and what needs to be done to help the situation in the country. Some of us, I said here yesterday that we are ready to ban everything without a plan on how you're going to build it. And that is irresponsible. Yeah, you're not different from that person who was told, kill your mother because your neighbor's mother has cooked good food and she's a good cook, she'll be cooking for you. There are so many dynamics that come into play when it comes to political decisions. So I would want us to soberly deal with this, and especially when it comes to the nation called Kenya. The complexity of our politics is such that we can't use one way to tackle everything. The turns and the twists are just too many. And so when we want things to be done and we are not willing to allow them to be done, and we are not willing to provide the solution, all we here to do is to, call this demonic, call this devil, call this selfish, call this evil. I don't think that helps. And so from that video, we have two schools of thoughts. There are those who believe that the MOU between ODM and UDA is going to help the country. And there are those who think it is not going to help the country. And then, of course, there are those who are like that member of parliament who claims Raila not to be trusted or relied on because he can change any time. And of course, that is also being given out of the historical challenges of cutting deals. And of course, I don't think Raila cut deals just to break them. There is a reason why Raila walked out of Kano, and that was Moi went out of the deal. The deal was we get into Kanu, we support Kanu, but when it comes to deciding the successor, let the people decide. That was the issue. But Moi decided at that particular time that he will not subject his successor on the democratic approach towards getting whatever, so that all the people who want to aspire as presidents, which was there was Saitoti, there was Kalonzo Musyoka, there was Raila Odinga, there was Mudavadi, and all this. So the agreement was they all go to what? Nomination, and then let the best man win. But when it came time for that particular nomination to take place, Moi refused to allow the process of nomination and said he has already found the successor and picked on Uhuru Kenyatta. That was the problem between the MOU between NDP, I think, with Moi, with Kanu for that matter. And so when we report things, I believe it's important for us to keep them in their correct context, because there are people who are sharing bits of things just to paint somebody in bad light for their own political, I don't know what they want to gain from the same. So let's tell things the way they are and keep things in their right context. Our history needs to be told, and especially some of us who are a little bit aged, okay? We need to pass our history to the next generation in the best accurate way possible. But this twisting of our history, changing in turns, and just because you want to paint somebody as evil, or you want to paint somebody as selfish, you want to paint somebody as having the claim of having betrayed us, so you reserve information that and then give information that is not accurate. That makes you dishonest, number one, and that also makes you not an elder. Elders don't pass information to the next generation that is inaccurate. That makes them irresponsible elders. And so I would want us to engage soberly on this matter, so that when we are teaching our children, this is how it was in the 80s, this is how it was in the 90s, this is how it was in the 70s, this is how it was in the 60s. Let's give accurate information. Stop the childishness of twisting things to suit your narrative at the expense of right information. Yeah, I believe we will be doing much better if we are passing accurate information to the next generation, not playing around with the emotions of our young people just to set them up to go and act on either false information or inaccurate information, or pieces of selected so-called truths that don't have a basis. I believe in debating on facts. I believe in debating on a clear reporting of issues. If that is what we are fighting over, that fight I can fight as long as I have breath. But if we want to twist, turn, and fix particular things to suit our particular narrative, that one makes us unfit to be leaders in the first place and to be elders, in my opinion. So I would want us to keep going as we begin to engage. Thank you, everyone. Please invite somebody. Can we get more people to come and join into the discourse? Thank you, our guys on TikTok. Asanteni sana. Naomba tafadhali to share your live, like the video. On YouTube, the same. YouTube, we are on Sound Candy Talk Live, Sound Candy Talk, as well as Facebook Sound Candy Talk page. And also, there is a poll question that you need to respond to. Thank you so much for those who have participated and also are planning to participate on the same. The poll question is simple, just if I bring in Mama, and that is, do you think the MOU between Raila Odinga, between Ruto and Raila will bring political stability of Kenya? And then, of course, your yes or no answer is called upon. Naomba tumakinike katika kutekeleza wajibu huo. Thank you very much. Habari ya mami? Habari. Unmute, please. Your mic is off.
Yeah, salama sana, Penat. Welcome back. I hope you are feeling better now.
Improving.
In the praise of God.
Thank you. Yeah.
Yes, Penat, tangu jana mambo imekuwa mingi. Kuna wale wako sopa, kuna wale wako na bitterness. Now, huyu baba ako na kazi ngumu sana. Akienda OAU tulimutusi, tukataka arudi, amerudi. Wengi wakasema akifika tu, nilikuwa naona hata wakijadiliana leo. Ati tulikuwa tunafikiria akitoka tu ati sababa. Mkutano ya kwanza anafanya kamukunji, akitusi Ruto. So, wakati baba anashikana na Ruto ni mbaya. Wakati wanamutaka ni mzuri. Penat, this is a joke of the year. Hata baba akisimama waambie kuja simama leo. Watasema baba ni number 2 like always. Tunashukuru kazi ile baba amefanya. Na kuna wengi wameongea. Hata nimeona msee moja Njenga kutoka Nakuru. Ameongea na hata yeye ameuliza. Chemeni mnamtakia nini Raila? Akienda mnataka arudi. Akirudi amumutaki. We need genuine people. Nimefurahi leo nimeona mkutano ya vijana ya inaitwa nini? Pressport government ikiongozwa na Samuel na vijana yote ya political parties wale wako broad-based na wameongea sense. Bernard wamesema they want ile mambo imekuwa kwa hiyo agenda 10 ile walisoma jana. Especially mambo ya youth, mambo ya hospitali, mambo mingi. They want to see them implement. Na nikafurahia ameambia vijana, let's go to these political parties. Ama muunde chama yenyu. Let us meet out there. Tukutane kwa hiyo political parties. And then we bring our issues. That is the only way young people should do. Wala wataki kuungana na party zile za zamani, wacha wakue na yao Penat, let them come out. And then they discuss things concerning Kenya. Na kwa hapo kijana akasema, Raila hajasaliti mtu. Na ODM wako tayari kufanya kazi. So now we are wondering with these people. Raila today, Raila tomorrow. Akifanya mzuri ni mbaya. Akifanya mbaya ni mbaya. So hata kama mimi ni yeye eri hata ameamua hivyo. Amepeana reason yake. Kama ameingia serikali, watu wamwambie baba, hii ndio imetusumbua. Aliingia serikali ya Uhuru kama imeisha. Alisaidia mpaka wanasema Uhuru walifanya mzuri. They are talking of Kibaki government. Kibaki government, Raila was the prime minister. Hata akitengeneza hiyo super road, hiyo mambo yote amefanya akiwa minister ya roads. Na akiwa prime minister. Amefanya kazi, but they don't want to say it. So ile kitu tutasema Penat, some of us, kwa sababu wale wanataka kutusiana na kulalamika waendelee. Lakini ukisikia maoni ya most part of Kenya, wako sawa. Hata kwa Rift Valley, kuna wale wamesikia mbaya. Pia, because they feel like, sasa mambo itakuwa ngumu. You know, when Raila is in there are people. Hata kama wanaongea, mtu kama Mbadi, kuna vitu mingi amechipiwa na kuna vitu mingi amefunga. People are now worried, how do we eat? And ndio unasikia that fight. But, vijana pia wamesema hivi, ama huyo msee Njenga ya Nakuru wamesema hivi. Mtuonyeshe yenu. Leo Ruto na Raila wameonyesha yao. Nyinyi sasa group mnalalamika, tell us your way, and this is Kenyans, tutaangalia where to go. But talking of Raila, Na nyinyi si mtuonyeshe presidential candidate yenyu ni nani. Mumesema nyinyi ni CNC na kumbe CNC ni everybody now. Give us your candidate. Tell us what you want to do for Kenyans. And I think that is what they should do for today. Don't tell us what Raila and Ruto are going to do. Iyo ni yao. Now, Jeremia Kioni, wanalalamika, wanasema Raila ametuangusha. Ile agreement, ile NATCO report. Sasa, tutafanya nini hii watu Bernard? Kwa nini, yesterday, today kuna watu wameanza kasi. We want them to show us their way. Alafu tujue how many races, how many horses do we have? Tumeona horses now ya Raila Ruto. We need these other horses of these other people to come out and show us the way, Bernard. That is the only way tutasikia. But now, wanalalamika, hawatuonyeshi way forward. You are talking of people who are moving. Alafu kesho unasema sasa hata hamuna confidence na IEBC. Wenyewe wanaanza kutishuku. You know, kama Bernard nyumba yako hujatengeneza, ukiona nyumba ya mwingine utasema yangu inanyeshewa, usiweke hiyo nyumba yako mvua isiingie. Why are you worried about nyumba ya Bernard yenye ametengeneza? Make yours. Thank you.
Okay, so thank you, Mami, for that good start. And ladies and gentlemen, I still urge us to engage soberly, maturely, and of course, with a sense of responsibility. That one will be my stand all through. And I think I've been consistent on the same. Like on that issue of the Grand Coalition government. The Grand Coalition government was not a handshake government. The Grand Coalition government came out of rigged elections, which was rigged in the glare eyes of Kenyans. And as a result of that, there was conflict. So there were mediation. And then it was concluded that according to the manipulation of the results and the rigging here and there was no clear winner of that particular elections. And so mediated by Kofi Annan, they came up with what was known as National Accord. And that National Accord is what stipulated that now that Kibaki has already named half of the cabinet and he has already been sworn in by night as president, they should create an office of what? Prime Minister to accommodate the ODM, which were at that time the majority in parliament in terms of seats and of course exhibit that they actually won the elections, but their victory was snatched from them. And so when the people begin to talk that it is Raila who rocked the Kibaki government looking for Rusumugate, is strange. That I find it very disturbing that the people reporting those things are politicians and who are mature enough that are supposed to give direction to the country, but they keep giving that mess up of information simply to suit their narrative. In my opinion, that's irresponsible. Let the young people know what happened while they were not there and how they are supposed to relate to the struggle in this country to get our elections to give us leaders has not been solved with so many succession elections. And then, of course, Mama is asking for who is their political, wherever their candidate. This candidate issue, where is it emerging from? I think candidates and political parties, arranging themselves for election is when IEBC has declared the seats vacant. There's no vacant seat right now. And according to the constitution, okay, this is known as multi-party democracy dispensation in Kenya, constitutional. I believe we get so much worked up with wanting to replace seats that are not vacant And in the process, we miss the steps. That's what I'm saying. Let us slow down, look at these things keenly. The MOU is a jumpstart for what needs to be done in dealing with the current situation in the country. It may not have the aspect of 2027. And if it fails, so what? Will it be the first thing that has ever failed? This country has been failing from 1960 to date. So I don't see why Kenyans are so much into ensuring that the only way for them to win against William Ruto is to ensure that Raila Odinga is separated from William Ruto. I think we are not ready for that battle. If you're ready for the battle, you trust your muscle. You don't look on how to weaken your opponent. You develop yourself to higher standards so that you win. So if you think you have political capacity and you have political weight to go on the other side of the scale and tilt the scale, just jump on the scale and show us that you can tilt this arrangement with your arrangement, other than creating animosity in the hearts and in the minds of Kenyans, all of it in the pretext that so-and-so has betrayed you to do what? Well, let's keep going. Thank you. Bwana Cosmas, hali vipi?
Poa bwana. Mzuri.
Karibu siku nyingi.
Ya, ni kasi hapa Amerika. Ni kasi all the time.
Pale niliona Trump anasema sasa green card hakuna, tuchukue gold card.
Green card iko, it is constitutional. Hawezi change the constitution. It is not a constitution.
So he seems not to be following constitution, just like Ruto.
Yeah, it is constitutional and they cannot change the constitution. Anyway, nimefurahi kuwaona na Mama Selina na wewe mko Kangali. I'm happy to see you guys. Sasa, I don't have much to say this time. Whatever has happened has happened. And the main point is to wish our country well. That is the main point. Our country move forward, Bernard. We are not hating Ruto or we are not hating Raila. The problem here is so many things done unconstitutionally. That is what the problem is. The problem is not all about Ruto, it's not all about Raila. You know, the main problem here is, what are we doing? Are we doing things rightfully? Are we focusing our people? Are we putting our people ahead? Are we following the constitution? That is the main problem here. Raila joining Ruto is not a problem. The problem is why Raila always waits so long, people die, and then he closes over Bernard. That is the question. You know, immediately Raila not to win, he joins the government, it will make sense. But now the question is, that to me, he waits for so long. Look for example, Mama Selina, the duration Raila took to go to cross over after our people who died. You know, we had protests, we have abductions, and such a things, Bernard. That's what makes me sad. Why waiting such a long until Ruto or government after our people who died, and so on and so on. Number two, Bernard, we have trust what? The Kenyan citizen don't trust any government now at all. Now, most Kenyans they have in their mind that the way things are not right. That's what is the main problem again. Right now, I'm sure Bernard, right now, moved around the country. I'm sure Kenyans didn't tell him to join Ruto. I'm sure. But you see what he did. he decided by himself.
Bwana Cosmas, you are saying you are sure. How
Yes,
sure
I'm
are you? Why were you in any of those meetings?
Yeah, I have an example I'm trying to give shortly.
Please do. I want you to substantiate your claim.
Yes, like my people, now, they told him don't join the government. But plus any other people, they told him not to join the government. But he went ahead and joined the government. You see, so such a things are those are some of the factors which brings a question: why doing things like that?
Let me ask you. Raila alikuwa naongea na watu ya ODM, si Kenyans. Alikuwa naongea na watu ya chama ya ODM. Na tuliwaona wakiwa Kisii delegates. Unajua Mkenya yote anaweza sema kitu, lakini hakuenda kwa Wakenya. Alisema let me console my party. So are you telling us mambo ya Wakenya ama unatuambia mambo ya party yenye uliona Sifuna alisimama akasema hii mambo tumepitisha kutoka executive na wametoka kwa delegate, na akasema baba amesunguka karibu Kenya mzima kuona watu ya ODM. Now as we are talking here, tuongee kuhusu aliongea na wanachama. So chama ya Kisii tuliona watu ya Nyamira, tuliona watu ya Kisii ikiongozwa na Simba Arati. Kuna members of parliament hawakuattend, lakini delegate ya Kisii waliambia baba go ahead, na aliwauliza munasema niendelee, wanasema endelea. So which people are you saying?
Let me finish my point, Bernard. Delegates.
Respond to the question as you make your point, please.
I saw some officials arguing that they are not for it, for sure. So some officials were against it, but according to what I saw, some officials were against that, and some officials were with that. There was some there were no fully agreement about that, but that one has happened. So my point is, there is a lot of untrustworthy to our leaders, and you cannot call a spade a spade. You cannot call something penalty a sin, call it good. It can never happen. It can never happen. Therefore, I don't want to talk a lot. The point is, our country is not in order. We need a lot of work. There's a lot of work to be done. For example, Bernard, let me ask you a question. It's not irrelevant to what we are discussing. It's with you. Or let me ask you, Mama Selina. What are the majority in parliament? Bernard, uniruhusu niulize hilo swali tafadhali. Usinichukulie vibaya. But I'm asking
ODM.
Who are the majority in parliament? Bernard, ODM.
ODM.
Or asking you, why is UDA ruling why is UDA majority now? Why UDA ruling the parliament?
Okay. Wakati Chebukati alitangaza Ruto alitangaza, alafu wakaenda kotini, tukapata mama anaitwa Hot Air. Hot Air pia akasema Ruto alichukua. So ODM wakarudi chini, wakakuja kwa parliament, alafu UDA wakanunua akachukua chama ya Kingi, akachukua chama ya anaitwa nani huyu Chap, na kuna chama ya Northeastern. Waka cross over.
which is illegal. Which is illegal. That's what I'm trying to do.
Now you can wait. Unatuuliza swali tunakujibu, okay? Wakati walifanya hivyo, ODM na Azimio wakaendelea kusimama. Okay? Kwa parliament. Watu wa baba akaenda barabara. Mara ya kwanza. Mara ya pili. Mara ya tatu. Watu wakauawa. Watu ikafanyika mambo ya mwisho. Akapikiwa risasi 11 akiwa Embakasi. From there, na mwenye alikuwa nafanya hiyo kazi, Ruto anapanga akipanda ndege wa Munyoro, anatupigia picha akiwa ofisa 11 ya asubuhi akipanga watu kwenda kupiga watu ya maandamano na kuua. Sasa ya mwisho nje baba asimamishe hiyo mambo ni wakati walienda Kondele, wakachukua vijana kwa manyumba, wakachukua watu kupiga watu kwa nyumba. Baba akasema, sitawacha watu yangu wauawe kwa sababu ya kiti. Wakasema tuongee. Wakaenda parliament. Wakatoa grupu mbili ya Azimio na ya UDA. Kufika katikati ikasimamishwa Kalonzo Musyoka. Akaongoza NATCO report na ichungwa. Kalonzo akapitisha hii mambo yote akijua yeye pia kuna kitu anafanya nini anataka. Mchana ako kwa NATCO report, usiku ako kwa Ruto. Bas ikasemekana waende KICC wasome. Baba mwenyewe akatuambia na mbele ya Kalonzo, wewe Kalonzo umeniita KICC nifanye nini? Wewe ndio ulikuwa unaongoza NATCO, sasa unataka kukataa, na mimi sikutaka kukuja kukutana na Ruto, wewe uliniambia nikuja hapa nifanye nini? Mambo ikakuwa kufurutana. Baba, watu walikufa. Watu ilifanyika ikiongozwa na serikali ya Ruto na Gachagua, tribute yake wakiwa pamoja. Mpaka wakati impeachment ya Gachagua imetokea. Na watu wamekufa hata Kware. Vijana ya Kware huko. Yeye alikuwa kwa ofisi. Nao hatutaki kupeleka story iwe mingi kwa sababu ulitaka kujua. Mimi ile kitu nakuuliza ni kwamba unasema mambo imeharibika. Wakakuja June, parliament maneno ikapangwa vile Gachagua wamepanga, hatujui KNC nani walikuwa naongoza. I don't want to say that. Wakamwambia baba, we don't need you. Si ati kaa nyumbani, we don't need you. Hii ni yetu. Wacha nimumalizie Bernard.
Please malizia.
Baba akakaa kando. Hakukuwa kwa KNC, aliwacha kama watu wamekufa na yeye akawacha. Wakamwambia hatukutaki, hata usitokee, na line yao wakasema hii msia akwende. Baba wakati aliongea kwa sababu ndani ya KNC na wenye walikuwa naongoza mingi ni vijana ya baba. Baba akauliza, mkitoa Ruto what will happen? Tuongee. Hiyo mambo iliisha. Raila analaumiwa mpaka today na aliambiwa don't, usikuje. Nikiambia pena tusikaribie kwa mlango yangu. Alafu saa ile nashindwa kufunga mlango na lalamika nasema hapana kwa sababu mlango yangu ilifunjika ni Bernard ama ni Mama Selina. Why? So hii mambo ya kulaumiana watu waje. Wakati baba alisema hivyo, Kenya ikatulia. Na tulikuwa hapa na pena tukiambia watu revolution ikipita 3 days kama KNC wamekuja 1,000,000 barabara, sisi wa Kenya wote twende tutoe, walikataa. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mami. But I think Cosma's question, when Wetangula declared Kenya Kwanza as the majority in parliament illegally, the ODM and the Azimio took the matter to court. It is the courts that delayed the ruling. That ruling has come out 2 years later. that what Wetangula did was illegal and unconstitutional. And like as we speak right now, that's a matter still appealed where? In the High Court. So the illegality of who is the majority, who is the minority is a matter that is active before the courts and has nothing to do with the MoU. The MoU agreement, in my understanding, it is to jumpstart the problems that Kenyans are facing right now, the dilemma that we are in right now, which is necessary, in my opinion, if we are going to navigate to 2027. But if this government collapses here, what happens? I'm for Ruto to go. Ruto must go. I've been leading that campaign here. But what I fail to understand is the people that want Ruto to go, they are not giving us who takes over after Ruto.
Let me answer you, Bernard, something.
Answer me.
Let me answer you something there. Then it's somewhere you are wrong. That's you are wrong somewhere. Uwezi ukasema hii ni mwisi, upate mwisi kwako, tena uendelee kumpea panga, uendelee kumpea protection guards, aendelee kukuibia. That one doesn't make sense at all.
Your analogy cannot work here because William Ruto is not in office, okay, by stealing in terms of the factors that put William Ruto in office. I believe William Ruto rigged himself into office.
Bernard, first of all,
let me finish my point, okay?
Okay.
William Ruto was declared as a winner of the presidential election 2022 by Chebukati. The matter was challenged in the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court ratified what Chebukati declared. And in broad daylight, Uhuru Kenyatta led the transition from his presidency to William Ruto's what? Presidency. So if William Ruto is in the State House kama mwizi analiiba kuingia State House, okay? Then since tukaenda State House kumsingira, then your analogy is right. But if he was given the sword, tukiona, akapewa constitution, tukiona, akapigiwa makofi, I mean, led into the oath according to the constitution, then give me a constitutional way of removing him from office. Not for you to tell us, ni mwizi, he must go. He must go, yes, but how? When we have done that, how do we constitutionally, okay, transist from his gone and now we bring in this? Not he has just to go.
Yeah.
Yes.
That one, you have a point. That one, at that juncture, you have a point. I agree. Right? You have a point there because he was given the sword constitutionally. That's very right. At the same time, he was given it illegally. For example, he was asked to open the server. You see what happened. He didn't want to open the server, but I don't want to go into that. But your argument, you are correct. I agree with you 100%. In short, Bernard, we have a problem in our country. The problem is we are recovering a sin to be right. That's all. Let me rest my case there. We are trying to cover what's not right to be good. And if we continue doing that, we are not going to help our country.
This is how government works, and this is how I would say constitution works. Okay. In fact, one of the challenges I have with us Kenyans is that we expect Raila, who doesn't have a mandate, okay, to help Kenyans. And the person who has been given the mandate is exonerated from his failure. So I don't understand Kenyans, okay? Huyu mtu mempatia magari, mempatia ndege, mempatia State House, mempatia constitution, mempatia sword. Then analala kwa kazi. Then yule mtu mulinyima hiyo kazi. Huyo ndio mnaenda kupiga mawe at ho, sijui amekula sijui nini ho, yeye ni tumbocrat ho, sijui kwa nini amejoin ho. Mimi nashindwa, mbona mimi nimekuja, mmeniajiri nikuwe mpishi kweli, nimekataa kupika. Okay? Lakini jirani ndio analaumiwa. Kwa hii nyumba watu wanalala njaa kwa sababu wamekataa kupika, sijui kwa nini wapiki, chakula ile unapika ni mbaya. Si ufute mpishi uliyeajiri. Then katika kufuta huyo mpishi, tumia njia ya kuajiri ama tuoni atakupeleka kotini, ulifukuza illegally.
Na pena Plastea Uhuru akapeana expert yake tena. Akaongezea Ruto akasema basi mimi kama Uhuru niko sawa. Ndio hii watu yangu nimekupatia wafanye kazi. Kwa nini watu waongee hiyo? Na Uhuru alikuwa Mombasa na Raila, mliona, na Ruto. Kwa nini amuongee hiyo? Ni Raila tu china tamu.
Not even that, mami. The first people to cross the floor, the majority, who went to make Kenya Kwanza majority, was Jubilee. Kioni akelia, wakati Jubilee ilikuwa inaenda, baba asaidie Jubilee isimezwe na nini? Na UDA. Mnakumbuka wakati Kaucho, okay? Akaenda kuokoa Uhuru wakati ofisi ya Jubilee inachukuliwa wapi? Westlands. Yaani hiyo yote Wakenya wamesahau. Kile wanaona tu ni when Raila goes to AU is a problem. He comes home is a problem. He joins government is a problem. He stays out of the government is a problem. Tafadhali tukubali kwamba nchi yetu iko na shida. Na nakubaliana we Cosmas. We have a constitutional problem. And this constitutional problem was being addressed by Raila and Uhuru earlier. And that's one thing I love about Raila. He sees a problem ahead and he begins to deal with it. The purpose of BBI was to address what we are in right now. That was the whole essence of BBI. And if BBI went through, we would not be where we are right now. But when the BBI was introduced, what did we say? We don't want it. It's bad. It's for sharing positions and all that. We dismissed it. Now what is happening? Are we not sharing positions? Unmute. Lakini naomba twende short break. Yes, Cosmas kwanza. Unmute Cosmas. Your mic is off.
Yeah, because of the sake of our country is more important. But nataka munielewe hivi. If we are going to continue doing this way, Fenad, our country will not change at all. We will be having the same problem. So we need to come up with a different alternative of changing our country. It is not all about Kikuyus. It's not about Kalenjins. It's not. It can be even a Kalenjin. So long as he rules our country rightfully, I don't care. It can be a Kikuyu. So long as he rules our country rightfully, I don't care. The problem is things are not right in our country. We need to come up as Kenyans, and then we fight what is rightful to us. Thank you, Bernard.
Exactly. Thank you, Cosmas. I agree with you. And that problem will keep recurring until we do the constitutional adjustment that takes care of these loopholes.
Yes.
This issue of MOUs and handshake and all that, it is all because the majority win, the minority are given victory.
Yes.
So where do you want this majority to go to? Yeah? We are the majority taxpayers. We are the majority consumers. We are the majority in everything. Then you want us at tukae kwa street tukisema so and so must go while he is eating. Hapana. Hii maswala mpaka tushughulikie katiba. And that's where I want Kenyans to go to. Tushughulikie katiba ishughulikie matatizo haya, we get a permanent solution. If we don't get a permanent solution, ni kama wewe unaumwa, umekataa kuchukua antibiotic, unakunywanga Panadol ama painkiller. You will live on that painkiller, but the disease will continue being there. But are Kenyans ready for this? And that's what Baba was talking about in the heat of the Gen Z protest. He said, let's have a national dialogue. Watu wakohoe, tukubaliane, ni nchi itaongozwa vipi. Wakasema hapana, amezoea discussions. Akimaliza discussions, ataenda apewe kati yake na nyamazi. Okay? But where are we now? MOU is there. We are back to where we were, and now we are asking another dialogue. Mama Selina.
Penat, nataka kumuuliza anaitwa nani? Cosmas. Chusi hapa Amerikani, Donald Trump alikuwa na mkutano ya members of parliament, Senate and Congress and the House, na wote walikuwa pale, Republicans na Democrats, na walikaa chini kwa sababu ya nchi yao. Kenya mulichakua hii American system, minority and majority. Na wakati Donald Trump ana address akisema mambo ya maana, unakuta Amerikani wote wanasimama, wanamwambia tuendelee. Hakuna siku umekuta Amerika wanasema kwa sababu Donald Trump ni Republican, sisi Democrats atuendi. So muli choose wrong system of government, alafu munatuambia opposition. We don't have opposition in Kenya. Tuko na minority and majority. And minority, Penat, hata majority sometime inapinga mambo yake ya serikali kwa sababu itatenda vizuri. Kwa sababu wewe uko Amerikani, wewe utaniambia ati leo wakati walimalizana election, Joe Biden akaenda nyumbani, Kamala Harris akaenda nyumbani, wakaand over kila kitu kwa Trump. Sahi Bernard, wacha nikwambie, sahi wenye walikuwa naimba siku hiyo atupangwangu hapa, wanalia, wako kwa barabara, na hata mwezi ijaisha, hata mwaka ijaisha, na haya anaweza kuambia amekuja akauma kila kitu. Wakasema so that is how people do. Ile ulisema upangwingwi, sasa umepangwa. I was just saying that of America, ili uone sisi Kenya tunafanya makosa. Tunataka kuita wengine opposition, Bernard, na tuseme serikali imetengenezwa ni yetu sisi wote. Minority can rule, na ipeane motions, na ipeane vitu ya kupitisha, Bernard, kushinda majority in parliament. And that is what Kenyans should know. Kama sisi tuko na two sides, minority and majority. Like now, unatuambia nani ni wengi. ODM, of course, but now they can implement. Wakielewana, mambo itapita vizuri kwa sababu kupishana hakuna. Minority wanatoa motion, sinaenda. Majority wanatoa, inapitishwa. Wenye wanafaitika na nini? Sisi wa Kenya. Wale wanalete shida ni mtu anataka vita iendelee, hili 2027 wapate kitu ya kusema. Not about Kenyans. Hii watu yote unasikia kelele, Penat, it is only Raila. Amekuwa na sacrifice maisha yake juu ya Wakenya. Lakini hii group ingine yote, they want something to entertain them, ili ifike 2022 kama kuna vita ama hakuna kuelewana. They are very worried. Raila ameingia ndani, Ruto akiimplement kila kitu yenye Wanakenya wanataka. Watasema nini 2027? Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mami. Appreciate that, ladies and gentlemen. As we continue to engage, please invite somebody. Don't watch the show alone. I believe what we are sharing is important. And we need to make everybody understand what's going on. I have said that before. Mundumezi, mimi sitaki kukosana na wewe mapema. Hii channel iko hapa, tumekuwa hapa, this is to be our 4th year or something. And we are not government sponsored. We are not pro-government. We are pro what is right for Kenya. What is right for Kenya. And just like I look at Kenya like a home. When you are a father of the home, you will not get all your children and your wife agreeing with you on everything. There will be people who tell you no, okay? But you as a father, you need to find a way of keeping your home running even when you have people who don't agree with you in that same home. Kuna wale utasema mtakula, but eventually watakula. So just the way that happens, it's how a country is governed. Now, when nimelemewa, niko jikoni, nimelemewa, nikaitisha msaada, mkuje kunisaidia, nimefanya nini? Nimelemewa. So, mimi ndio wakulaumiwa ama ile msaada imekuja? Mimi ndio nataka tu Wakenya wanieleweshe. Mimi niko jikoni, nilikuwa napika, lakini ugali ikanishinda. Nikasema please, kuja unisaidie, nimekwama. Okay? Haya. Huyu akakubali kuja kunisaidia. Sasa wale ambao walikuwa nataka nitoke na ugali mbichi, okay? Badala wanilaumu mimi kwa kuomba msaada, wanalaumu yule alikubali kunipatia msaada. I don't think that's how things go. But we are going to take another video before we engage into another discussion. But on the same topic, we are looking at the MoU, who wins, who loses, and then Raila's political playbook. I'll be playing that video shortly. And then who will succeed Chebukati? And of course, with the succession...
Allow me to get out. I will be back. I will be back.
No problem.
Thank you.
Sawa. Thank you. Now, the succession of Chebukati, Kenyans need to be engaged on the same, because some of the things that happen without our watch. We get an incompetent person in office, and when things go wrong, we begin to do what? We begin to do what? We begin to say that this has failed. But when the things are happening, we cut ourselves off. Now, right now, they are looking for the commissioners of IEBC. Okay, what role are we playing to make sure that these people who are going to be given these responsibilities have integrity, have no questionable character, and are able to deliver a free and fair elections? Are we going to stay in the house when this election is taking place, or we are going to be actively involved? Because tukiwa watu wa kuchelewa mpaka mambo yameharibika ndio tunaanza kutoka ambia so and so must go, while that person was being brought in office, what did we do to try and stop the person? Chebukati was buried yesterday. Okay, Chebukati becoming chairman of IEBC, having been number 6 out of 8. Okay, and now he's made chairman. We did not protest. We did not bring that up. We come to learn of it 5 years later, when he's about to leave office, when we know this person alikuja number 6. So saa hii commissioners wanatafutwa. Sisi wa Kenya tunafanya nini? Are we in parliament to make sure that the parliament does the right thing? Are we protesting and writing whatever? Like we wrote to AU wasikubali Raila. We wrote where else and all that. Are we writing to parliament to say we want credible people with integrity? Nimesikia kuna Oswaga ako huko. Tena ile mama alikuwa kwa inaitwa nini Supreme Court ako huko. So Oswago ile alipatikana na Chicken Gate. Okay? Ako huko anatafuta huo nini uchairman. So Oswago akipewa huo chairman, atafanya kazi kushinda Chebukati. Nakumbuka wamefanya kazi na Chebukati. Let us engage seriously as Kenyans in how the country is being governed, and not for us to be reactionary. Every time things go wrong is when we now begin to blame and look for who to easily blame, when we should be bearing the greatest blame for sleeping while things were happening and we did nothing to try and stop them. Well, let's look at this as we go further. We'll be back shortly tusikilize hii story alafu turege. Na wakati tuko break, piga kura yako, like video, invite somebody, hakikisha kwamba tuko mstari wa mbele pamoja.
Kutoka vijijini, mijini hadi jijini. Hii ni Sound Kanti Talk Live.
Now, from the government of national unity to the handshake, now enter the broad-based government. All of them have a similar thread running through. Raila Odinga, Kenya's political Machiavelli, whose hold on Kenya's opposition and government seems to dictate party politics and incumbency for every sitting president. Bridget Ghana, what do you have for us on this interesting angle?
Well, Dan, it's more of a historical piece because every time people have really written off Raila Odinga just coming off from his AU election that he lost, every time he's written off, he always has a comeback, and these comebacks are usually unexpected. But we kind of had an inkling of what was to come if we take quick back look into what really happened last year with the involvement of ODM politicians. Now they are cabinet secretaries. We've seen changes coming in, even with the inclusion of Jubilee leaders in government. And now this was just the inking or just the dotting of the I's with the argument or the hush-hush tones that we've been hearing between the President William Ruto and the opposition leader who's now in government, Raila Odinga. And just take a look at the historical background of when he started engaging with government, and it goes all the way back to more than 2 decades ago. Take a listen.
Thrice works the charm could best describe Raila Odinga's Friday pact with President William Ruto, ushering in his third power-sharing agreement with the sitting president after a hotly contested general election. Raila's foray into government as a co-principal beginning in 2008 after the late former UN Secretary General Kofi Annan brokered a truce after a bloody post-election in 2007. Raila becoming the Prime Minister in the government of national unity headed by the late President Mwai Kibaki. On 9th March 2018, on the steps of Harambee House, Raila Odinga appeared hand-in-hand with former President Uhuru Kenyatta after a handshake in the wake of a disputed presidential election in 2017. The handshake that alienated the then Deputy President and now Head of State, William Ruto.
Lakini sisi tunajua bwana kitendawili ako na njama ya kuunda serikali ya mkato ya bandia kupitia nusu mkate ndio hataki mambo ya uchaguzi.
With 2 days shy of the March 9th, 2018 handshake anniversary, another inking of a broad-based government deal between Raila Odinga and President William Ruto materialized that will see the opposition once again incorporated into government. And this is the masterstroke of what makes Raila Odinga a political engineer, or is it the engineer of Kenya's politics?
Because Baba here has seen it all. In fact, he has enough for his and all generations. His Excellency the President has sat on all positions. So in my thinking, this unity is for the young people of this country. It's for all of us. Our party leader, and on behalf of this party, officials and members across the country, all 47 branches, we are behind this unity. We are behind this agreement.
1999 is the first time Raila Odinga made a deal with the sitting president, the late President Daniel Arap Moi, when his opposition outfit, at the time NDP, joined the ruling party KANU, which led to the dissolving of NDP in 2002 into KANU. But the pact was short-lived when Raila Odinga left KANU to form the National Rainbow Coalition, which delivered the presidency to Mwai Kibaki in 2002. The other fun fact about Raila's cooperation deals with his political nemesis is that they all happen in the month of March, save for the 2008 one with Kibaki, which was signed on the 28th of February. The ODM-UDA MoU is also the first deal Raila has signed with a sitting president in their first term in office. Bridget, Ghana, NTV.
Now let's unpack the makings of this agreement. And President William Ruto and ODM leader Raila Odinga have formalized their broad-based political association into a formal working arrangement by signing a memorandum of understanding. Their union, however, raises questions on motive and the desired outcome, as President William Ruto is a man who once vehemently opposed what he has now openly embraced. The Ruto deal is the fourth such handshake Raila Odinga has been involved in with the government as the opposition. The president once referred to it as a conundrum and a mongrel. Ayub Abdikadir examines the makings of a mongrel democracy.
The party chairs and the secretary generals to join in.
For President William Ruto, this moment looked improbable, if not outrightly unacceptable.
The deputy party leaders.
Dr. Ruto, a presidential candidate in 2022, led a crusade against the Ruto-Raila handshake, taking his utter dissatisfaction to Chatham House in the UK, promising a stoppage to what he termed as handshake politics that led to the birth of a mongrel.
The result which you see today in Kenya, there is no government and there is no opposition. Today in Kenya, you have a mongrel of a governance system. You don't know whether it is the government that is in the opposition or the opposition is the one that is in government.
It is a stance he maintained when he ascended to the presidency. And 4 months after taking his oath of office, he linked all governance ills to the Kenyatta-Odinga handshake.
That's why I want a vibrant opposition. How did we get here? We got here because of the handshake nonsense. We got here because you get the opposition, which is supposed to hold the government to account, into some illegal, cohabitation, or whatever it was called, in the name of unity. What unity? Who says by having an opposition, we are not united?
Abroad, President William Ruto's script sounded similar, rolling out an engagement with Odinga and the ODM party, who led countrywide demonstrations over the rising cost of living.
The handshake that brings the opposition and government into some conundrum and a mongrel and an outfit that is undemocratic, unconstitutional, and illegal.
Raila Odinga, a veteran of handshakes, familiar with the formula, is starting after the second multi-party election with President Daniel Toroitich Arap Moi, his National Development Party merging with KANU, Odinga a beneficiary, becoming the Secretary General of the new KANU. The 2007 general election and the ugly aftermath which engulfed the country offered Odinga another political lifeline, becoming a prime minister in a power-sharing deal with President Mwai Kibaki, midwifed by the late UN Secretary General Kofi Annan, who headed the panel of eminent persons, alongside former Tanzanian President Benjamin Mkapa and former South African First Lady.
Mimi Mwai Kibaki naapa kwamba
the contested election outcome setting the stage for a new arrangement with the late former President Mwai Kibaki. Then came the Harambee House moment and another handshake, this time with Uhuru Kenyatta. By all measure unexpected, the two embarking on a political journey into 2022. Odinga, then Kenyatta's candidate, losing out to Ruto, a Kenyatta 4. Just as the culture of the handshake political seemed to be on the wane, these photos from the Kisozi farm of Ugandan President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni signaled another moment for Odinga, this time with Ruto. The two naming members to the National Dialogue Committee, NATCO, which concluded its assignment at the Bomas of Kenya and recommended constitutional solutions than economic answers, failing to prescribe answers to the cost of living crisis and the demonstrations which gripped the country as a result. The president, in person leading Odinga's African Union bid, sanctioning government support for the former prime minister in a campaign that ended with a fall to Djibouti's Mahmoud Ali Yusuf. And so 2 days before the 7th anniversary of the March 9th, 2018 anniversary of the Ruto-Raila handshake, these once sworn political enemies appended their signatures. They qualified their union as an antidote to Kenya's socio-economic and political challenges. Odinga, the constant factor in the equation, and President William Ruto, like his predecessors, the variable. Questions, however, abound on how this will extricate the country from the outlined challenges when similar political marriages haven't in the past. Ayub Abdikadir, Citizen TV.
Okay. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. I believe that gives a historical background. But I would also want to highlight some things that were raised in that particular story. There was no government of national unity. There was a grand coalition government, which came out of poorly handled elections. The really power, or rather the really problem behind the handshakes and the seeking of unity and cooperation is our failure to conduct free and fair, verifiable, credible elections. If you are still like hapa nani amesemaje, we are still tu TV anasema handshake ni thibitisho ya kura kufanyaje mkiiba kura inaishia handshake. Okay, well, what that simply means is if we don't handle our elections right, we should be able to live with the consequences of failing to conduct the elections right. That is simple and clear. And nobody in this country who is in his right senses, who does not understand what we are talking about. The grand coalition government came out of what? Number one, Kibaki failing to honor the memorandum of understanding between National Alliance of Kenya and LDP when they came together after the Kibaki Tosha. The first thing about the memorandum of understanding was that Kibaki said he will go only one term. He will be a one-term president. But after enjoying the presidents, akafika hapo katikati asema kwanza Lucy ndo alituambia hakuna mahali Kibaki anaenda, msahau hiyo maneno, ilikuwa ati one term nini president. So the fallout between Raila and Kibaki was not about the 2007 elections. It was all by the betrayal of Kibaki and his team. Instead of him working out the dream of Kenya and helping Kenyans work together and fulfill his promise, he went against that promise. That's what resulted into him losing the referendum in 2005 and losing the elections in 2007 and swearing himself in at night wrongly when the whole country went aflame. So let's not beat up the victim, okay, of election rigging simply because he's demanding his share. Let's be honest with ourselves. Tukubaliane vizuri. 2013, there was a government. Was Raila in that government? Was it not Uhuru and Ruto that ran the show? When did we have grand scandals? Was it not 2013, 2017? Where was Raila in that? So let's be honest with ourselves and report our history rightly. Mama Selina, over to you in case una la kusema.
Bena, tumeona history tangu wakati ya Moi mpaka sasa Ruto. Kwa nini watu wanasikia mbaya kwa hii ya mwisho? Because I hope this is the last one. Ukiipa kitu ya mtu penat, you are not comfortable. Unakumbuka hata ukiua mtu, unatoroka, lakini utarudi kuambia watu yenyu, jameni nilifanya makosa, endeni kwa familia ya fulani, ndi at least niishi nikiwa sawa. All these people are killed kwa sababu wanajua and they are not killed. Ile imewasumbua. Raila anakuanga half of the government. You know, unaweza kuwa rais Bernard, but kuna 6 million ama 7 million outside. How will you govern those people? Tena unachukua ushuru kutoka hiyo watu yote ya Kenya. And that is where Raila amesimama imara kwa sababu wafuasi yake. Anaongoza watu yake vyema. Sasa unajaribu kumaliza Raila, unasema unampeleka Pondo, unakuta Pondo yake iko ngumu kwa sababu Pondo ya Raila ni Kenya. Ako na wafuasi Kenya. So, wakati unasema Pondo atakuwa Mombasa, atakuwa Kakamega, where Pondo, where Nairobi, where? Hivyo ndio mahali Raila amesimama na uongozi wake Bernard, ama wakati ameingia hiyo maserikali, ama wakati amefanya hiyo nusu mkate, inasimamisha mambo ilikuwa imeharibika. Unakumbuka Uhuru alirudi akasema kama si huyu msee hakuna mahali angeenda Mombasa, angeenda West, na Ruto the same. Ruto alikuwa anapanda ndege kila wiki mpaka Mukaita anapatilisha suit kwa ndege because he could not sit. Na remember hajaienda Harambee House, na utaona sasa kasi inafanyika kwa sababu minority sahi tunapigania minority kwa parliament. Do we remember the president also is minority in the Republic of Kenya? Ukitaka kwenda kukaa chini na governors, hiyo governors ni ya Raila ama ni ya opposition, wherever. Sasa watu wa Kenya wakuwe na ukweli, wafanye the right thing pena. Tukiwa na election next time, let us elect. Wa Kenya wana shida, wanachakua wapenzi yao, lakini wale wanaamua IEBC na Supreme Court ya kuendorse ukora, ya kuendorse corruption, give Kenyans the right. Atungekuwa na hii mambo yote, hata kama baba angepatiwa nafasi, tungeshajua mambo yake, yeye anajua kuongoza ama ajui, lakini anafaitika kwa sababu we have never tested his government. So now tunaenda mambo ya 2027 is not far, na najua baba atasaidia Ruto, serikali itasimama. But hata ikisimama, can Kenyans do the right thing? Wale wanaingia IEBC wakuje wafanye kazi mzuri. Na hiyo kazi mzuri Bernard, nyoka ile kubwa imeweka kichwa na ulimi juu kwa IEBC haichakuswa. We are talking of commissioners. We are not talking of the body. We are not talking of those people who are still election. The wanaitwa nini wala wanatik. Unajua wala wanatik mitiani Bernard, ukiweka the same people every time, hata wawezi ona papers, wanatik tu, hata kama ni wrong wanasema leo Kakamega tufatie hii, Rift Valley hii tufanye kwa sababu wamesoea. But if you bring the new people, wanakuwa concerned na kila mtu anataka kufanya kazi yake mzuri. So kama we are trying to get something right, tutume baba na wale wameingia ndani, tunamwambia this time round, after tupate IEBC's commissioners, kabla wachaingia ndani kupata rushwa ama kudanganywa, we want to see that house clean. Waanze tukue na IEBC commissioners wapya na tukue na wafanyikazi from naitwa nini time towers and all mpaka huko constituent Bernard. Kama hatutafanya hivyo, we wait the same. Thank you.
Okay, so asante mami. And it's important as Kenyans to engage soberly. I still insist Kenyans don't take elections serious. We don't go through elections with the serious. We don't give our elections the seriousness it deserves. We wake up late, just like we are late comers, kama wa Kenya. Itakuwa imebaki siku 3 ya registration of voters. Ndio utaona line zimekuwa mrefu, na hiyo registration ilikuwa imeendelea for 3 months. Hakuna mtu anaenda huko. Clerks watakuwa wanakaa hapa wakipiga miayo, hakuna mtu anakuja. But 3 days to the end ndio utaona line zimepanga. Let us change if we want change in the country.
Can you stop this person calling Raila takataka? Kwani Raila akiwa takataka yeye ni nini? Hata anajua kitu kweli huyo. Why people don't have respect?
I really want us to engage soberly here. Tafadhali na kuomba, kama unataka kuleta story ya hate, kuna channel ile ina propagate hate. Okay? Tafuta, enda huko, mkafanye your kitchen hatred program. Hapa tunataka kuengage brains and people who have the best interest for this country. This Raila Odinga is not to be blamed. What should be blamed is Kenyans for refusing to follow the constitution when it comes to electing leaders. Raila Odinga will not be used as an umbrella. Amekata. Especially by those people who use him conveniently. Mnataka afanye vile mnataka. Wakati anawaita mfanye vile anataka mnakataa. So sasa amekuwa mzee mjinga, amekuwa mzee disappointment, amekuwa mzee. Mimi nakuuliza, wewe uko 20 years, uko 25 years, uko 30 years, uko 40 years. What have you done before you blame an 80-year-old man for denying you what? What did he deny you? Because he refused to follow you into whatever you wanted. Everybody has a right to follow you or not to follow you. Jana nikiondoka niliuliza swali. Ninyi watu wote mnapiga hapa mdomo Raila this, Raila that. When there is a government crisis, wangapi wenu mmepigiwa simu na Ruto ama na serikali yeyote kwamba tuko na shida na hii serikali, tafadhali kuja mtusaidie? Kama uko hapa ushawahi kupigiwa simu na Ruto ama president yeyote kwamba tuko na shida na serikali, njoo utusaidie, then utuambie Raila ni useless. But kama hujapigiwa simu, it means you are not as significant. Your talk is not as serious as Raila's talk. Your moves are not as serious as Raila's moves. When Raila moves to the government, there is shaking. He moves out, there is shaking. It's simply because he has political weight. If you want to get rid of him, then develop political weight, not political matusi. Develop political weight, come with brains, sell yourself to Kenyans. Let's see how many Kenyans are going to follow you. Twende saa hii, inaitwa nini hapo? Wacha hata Uhuru Park. Hapo Kencom tu. Twende Kencom, wewe uanze kuongea, tuone watu wangapi watasimama kukusikiliza. Then Raila akuja hapo kwa bomb blast for 2 minutes. Let's see how many people will gather to hear him.
Jana pena tumesahau Kalonzo na anaitwa nani walikuwa Uhuru Park. Chiko ni kidogo na baba alikuwa KICC. Can you even compare? Wacha ya mbali. Jana.
Of course. Mudumezi. Wewe ndio telephone controller wa State House. Unajua nani anajiletanga, nani anapigiwa simu. I'm not reporting what is in my head. The phone calls were between Uhuru Kenyatta and Raila Odinga when the Gen Z were on the street. The 3 important key leaders ambao atuoli pia anajifikisigi hapo. Lakini the 3 important leaders of this country is Raila Odinga, Uhuru Kenyatta, William Ruto. Hao ndio waliongea wakilipigiana simu. Hata Gachagua alikuwa coast, hana habari. So msitulete na haya maswala tunayosema ni kweli na unajua ni kweli. So kama unataka kudisplace Raila Odinga, please build political weight kuzidi yake. Lakini wewe ukiongeza matusi, ati unatumia matusi ku reduce political weight, you won't succeed. So work on your political weight so that you are able to fight Raila Odinga on politics, not on insults. And most of the people who resort to insults is because they don't have an answer to the question. Mwalimu ameuliza 2+2, ujui answer, unasema mwalimu ni mjinga. Jibu swali, okay? Wacha kutusi mwalimu. So hapa mimi nataka tuambiane ukweli, sio story ya kusema nende Raila ashatuambia yeye sio mtu wa Bondo. Raila is a Nairobi member of parliament. He has been a Nairobi member of parliament. He has never vied in Bondo. Kwanza sababu ambayo just why succeed kumrudisha Bondo is because his home is not in Bondo. His home is in Nairobi. So nyinyi mnasafirisha mtu wa Nairobi ati mnapeleka wapi? That's why you have never succeeded. Please get the address right. Ili mkituma PO box, mnatumia PO box mzuri. Ukituma barua Bondo na mwenye unatumia barua kwa Nairobi, how do you expect him to get it? So tukubaliane, tuache mchezo. So achana na matusi, kuja hapa utuambie Raila has not done this and this because he was in the office and he did not do this and this. But as long as Raila Odinga, you have not put him in office, you have not made him president, you have not made him anything, don't expect anything from him. He doesn't owe you anything. Being a political leader of ODM or whatever, party leader of ODM, sisi wafuasi wa ODM ndio tunapaswa kuzungumzia Raila Odinga kwa sababu ni kiongozi wetu. Lakini wewe hauko kwa ODM, wewe sio member, wewe uko kwa Munyoro ama uko kwa Jubilee, uko kwa inaitwa nini, Liberty, whichever. But unataka kupanga ODM, unataka kupanga Raila Odinga, unataka kupanga William Ruto. Sasa unapanga vipi? So let's agree. So unataka kudhalilisha Raila Odinga, you are too late. That mzee is 80 years old. But even at 80 years old, is causing shockwaves in the political landscape of this country. That is why you need to go and learn from him, other than insulting him. Insulting him will not change anything. That's why he doesn't answer. He's not like Ruto. You insult him, you've been insulting him from June, July, August, September, December. He didn't answer. Okay, now this has come January, February, it is March. He has not answered. Don't you people get tired? Let's do what is necessary. Well, let me get this video and then we discuss. And ladies and gentlemen, like I said at the beginning, I'm on very strong medications and my doctor has instructed me not to be here, but I'm here illegally kwa sababu vijana wako mpaka Monday. So tutajitahidi tuzungumze yale tunaweza, lakini tuache matusi. Kwanza, it is bad manners for you to insult an old man 80 years old. Una complain wewe uko 25, hawezi ita watu 10 hapa nyuma ya nini hapo kwa monument ya nani ya anaitwa nani, Tomboya, kwa National Archives. Alafu kwa hapa unatusi yule mtu yule. Tafadhali, go to Raila Odinga and learn. How do you remain relevant in politics for this long? Raila Odinga alikuwa na Kitobo Imanyara, alikuwa na huyu mwingine wa inaitwa nini, Subukia. What is his name? I forget his name. Goiki wa Mwere. Yes. Kitobo Imanyara, Kiraitu Murungi. There were so many young thugs in the 90s and in the 80s, but none of them is determining the politics like Raila is doing. So vijana, badala ya kutusi Raila Odinga, nenda kwa shule yake mukajifunze jinsi ya kufanya siasa. Okay? And how to win without how to win with losing. Because you deny me victory, you can't govern, I come to help you to govern, you give me my share. It is that simple. So kwanza wacha nisomee wale watu wa kusema nini, kuna watu wa opposition. Tukubaliane, and the media, especially the media. The media is reporting things inaccurate in this country to push a particular narrative. Hakuna opposition kwa constitution. They have never gotten that word from their mouth. When it is MOU, they call it handshake. Why? Because it suits their narrative. A good journalist checks his findings, double checks his findings, and reports things accurately, not to push a particular agenda. So let us be honest with ourselves and do what we are required to do, and that is report matters as they are, not as we wish them to be. As they are, not the way we wish them to be. And so this MOU tutasungumza mpaka turudi, lakini kama mtajifunza kutokana na wale ambao mmewatangulia, especially the Gen Z, wale mnataka kuchukua uongozi wa hii nchi na mnataka kuelekeza hii nchi, and you don't want to learn from those that have gone ahead of you, I'm sorry to disappoint you. You may never get a chance to get to that leadership. Leadership is not always gotten by force. Great leaders, there will be no youthful leadership minus elders. Just like there can never be elder leadership without the youth. So wewe utakujifunza jinsi ya kukaa na wazee, unasema wazee ni wajinga, wazee ni takataka, wazee ni, hawezi kuwa kiongozi hata wa kijiji. The moment you begin to despise elders, you insult them, you call them names, you are removed from the list. You can't even be a youth leader. So jifunze. That one is for my free counsel. Learn from those that have gone ahead of you. Be respectful. You climb from one rank to another. You become a credible, reliable leader. Lakini wewe unataka kuwa leader kwa matusi. Haiwezekani. So stop deceiving yourself. Think that you want to do what? You want to insult people to silence. When your wife asks you to think like a man, you insult her. You think like a man because she's seeing deficiency in your thinking. So tafadhali, let's campaign and work out things accordingly. Let me get this video out of the way. Like I said, I can't stay long, but we'll do the remaining few minutes to 2 hours, and then tuanze kungatuka. So tusungumzie swala la IEBC, alafu the exchanges between Ruto and Unatembea, then we are out of here. Let's look at this IEBC manenos.
Good evening and welcome back. Kenyans jostling to succeed the late Wafula Chebukati as the IEBC chairperson have large shoes to fill if sentiments by President William Ruto are anything to go by. Ruto has eulogized Chebukati as a national hero who set the bar for the leadership of the Electoral Commission very high. And as NTV's North Rift reporter Macharia Mbogo explains, Ruto's sentiments were echoed by other leaders in attendance at Chebukati's funeral.
The late Wafula Chebukati died on February 20th after a sickness that saw him seek treatment in Kenya and Germany. And today, family, friends, colleagues and leaders gathered at his rural home to pay their last respect.
He just decides we're going to do this. And then along the way, he says, now you run with it. I didn't then realize, it's only recently it occurred to me, this gentleman was preparing me.
Leaders led by President William Ruto made glowing tributes on former IEBC chairman Wafula Chebukati, describing him as a hero who presided over transparent and democratic elections.
Na pia kama pengine angesimama famu vile wengine wanasema, labda taifa la Kenya lingechomeka. As an employee, as a man, as an officer, you must take a stand. And I think he took a stand.
Ile sifa ambayo wakili Chebukati amepeana nchi hii ni sifa kubwa sana, na ndo maana alikuwa bidhaa moto ambayo inatakikana kila pembe ya ulimwengu. Chebukati has set the bar
for the leadership of our Electoral Commission very high. Many people today have to think before they apply because Chebukati has set the standard.
The head of state says that the late Chebukati was a man of integrity who supervised 3 presidential elections with fairness and saved the nation from plunging into chaos during the 2022 contested elections.
Powerful people from the security sector, from the administration, went to Bomas to try and change the elections of 2022. With might and money and power, but Chebukati said he would rather do the right thing.
Pengine kwa sasa tunaweza lichukulia tu kwa mambo ya uraisi na kusema ilikuwa niamue iwe pande hii ama pande hile. Lakini ile kitu ambayo mimi najua alifanya ambaye sio kitu cha kawaida watu kufanya.
President Ruto said the late Chebukati faced a lot of intimidation and threats during the 2022 contested presidential elections, but stood by his democratic principles. Ruto maintained that his administration will exercise his discretion in issuing identity cards to promote equality to all communities. The president was responding to Trans Nzoia governor who challenged him to return the mandatory vetting for issuance of national identity cards in northeastern Kenya.
Wale wazee ambao wanakaa katika hizo kamati wanakuwa vetted vizuri, wanalipa mshahara, maana walipa mshahara. Hata kama kuna mshahara imechelewa sana, alafu wanaleta ukora kidogo ili watu wetu wa Kenya wapate vitambulisho. Sababu ya vetting haizuii wa Kenya kupata vitambulisho, inazuia wageni kupata vitambulisho.
Wanapata vitambulisho kwa hali moja. Alafu kuna Wakenya wengine wanapata vitambulisho kwa kiwango kingine. That is unacceptable, it is undemocratic, it is unconstitutional, it is illegal. And we cannot continue with that kind of parochialism.
Ruto also defended his MoU with ODM leader Raila Odinga, saying the pact is meant to unite Kenyans and spur development across the country.
To all the leaders who share in the vision of a united nation, of a united, prosperous Kenya that is inclusive, that we must work together in that manner.
Prime Minister wa zamani Raila Odinga wamekubaliana na kukumbatiana kupeleka nchi yetu mbele. Hapo ndio sisi zote wapenda amani, wapenda nchi yetu tuko.
As the former IEBC chairperson is laid to rest here at Sabata village in Trans Nzoia County today, the family describes him as a loving and caring person, whereas colleagues and friends describe him as a mentor, while leaders have described him as one who was courageous and showed utmost integrity during the 3 most competitive elections in the country. Macharia Mbogwa, NTV, Trans Nzoia County.
Okay, mambo ni kama hayo. Jakindube unajaribu kuingia, naomba jitahidi uwahi kabla muda kuyoyoma. Well, kabla mami uingie useme kitu, acha nishughulikie swala moja tu hapa. Tafadhali naomba, nimesema tena narudia, naomba tu tukue na heshima. Okay? Freedom hapa nasema the Gen Z have many people to learn from, like Traore. They don't need to learn from Raila. Is a failure and an embarrassment. Freedom, I don't know who you are in terms of you personally and how much you have achieved. If we put it on them scale with Raila Odinga, I don't think you are a better success than Raila Odinga. And that's not going personal. Secondly, Traore is in office by overthrowing a government. Is that what you want the Gen Z to go and learn? And will that be a good education? I don't think so. So freedom, if you believe in freedom, there is no freedom without responsibility. And what I see in you and what you're posting, It shows how irresponsible you are as a person. You think by throwing out insults, you are a leader. That is not leadership. Leaders weigh their words. They use words with discretion. That's what makes you a leader. But if you are reckless with your statements, it just makes you unfit as a leader. That one I'll give you for free. And I won't hide it from you. The book of James, he says, a man who does not err in word. That man is perfect. That man is perfect. Now that you are insulting somebody you don't know personally, you have never worked with, you have no idea on how whatever kind of pressure that Raila Odinga has, the expectations of Kenyans on Raila Odinga is not something you can even survive in office for a day. If you are left that, you are calling him an embarrassment, a failure. He has succeeded now. Show us your success. Let's compare it with the one for Raila Odinga. Kenya is bigger than Raila, of course. But why are we discussing him? Why can't you drop his name? Mama Selina, please take it. Jakindu Bey, jaribu uone uingie tafadhali.
I think Bernard, yet ni kuona na macho. We don't have even now to. These people, hakuna kitu wanajua na wangoje siku sao. Baba has done his part. Na patu wataendelea. Unajua nakubali vile Mungu anasema. The moment tunatusi mtu, Mungu anamuongezea siku. Maadui ya Raila wamekuwa wengi sana, lakini Mungu anasema ninakuweka hili maadui yako waendelee kuona ukiprosper. These people, at next government, yeah, 2032, we are not talking of even 2027 because our chachipanga 2032 kutatokea mtu amendosiwa na atachua. And if this is the politics, Bernard, we regret to our country. Na vijana yenye we are hoping for, wale tunajua the leaders of tomorrow, of which tomorrow is the day. Unless tekina Makaora ama anaitwa Kasmal, wale vijana wadogo. Members of parliament, majority now are young people, Bernard. Wamekrap, hawa ndio wamemaliza nchi. Because unakuta mtu ameenda 5 years, amekuwa na helicopter, amenunua watch ya 5 million, ako sijui na simu ya sijui nini, ako na... These are the young people yenye wangetaka kutengeneza nchi. So, we will be here to see, but some of us, we are happy because tunaendelea na ma generation, tunafuata our generation. So, we will not be here to see what you guys are doing. But for Baba, tunamuombea, na Rais Ruto tunawaombea muendelee kusaidia Kenya. Hawa wanapika kelele Bernard, watakuja kwa hii channel tu kama wamechange tune. Tukikumbuka walitudanganya tuko ODM, tumepigia Baba mara moja, sijui tumepiga mara ngapi, na ni uongo. Walikuwa na pretend. If you pretend, you go. But the real indigenous ya Baba wale wamepaki na yeye, wale wanaitwa kama indigenous trees, hauwezi change, na ndiye anakuwa nao mpaka saa hii. Unauliza mtu anasema Wakenya wawajasikia vile Baba anasema. Ukiangalia Kisumu, it was full. Kienda Mombasa, full. Kienda Busia, full. Jana kiwanja. Nairobi ulikuwa nafikiria ni shafu. Wakikuja wa mama, hiyo walikuwa ni machensi pena. Sikuona hata watu wase hapo. Wamama gani wangetembea wase na wase kwa hiyo barabara? Ndio walikuwa majensi na munaita nini hiyo inafuata? Hiyo nye jensi inafuata. Ndio walikuwa wamejaa, wanaimba, wanaruka. Musegani wewe? Wewe utaenda ruka mpaka ufike huko juu, si utafunjika. Those our jensis walikuwa hapo jana wakipiga nduru wakicheka. So I wonder, hii ingine inasemwa ni gani Bernard? Wakenya wale walijaa jana ni kani? Wale wachache walikuwa kona ya Uhuru Park. They should know. Unajua unadharau mtu na ako na watu wanapenda. Watachoka. Mtaendelea kuongea, baba anaendelea, serikali inaendelea. Ruto is becoming more strong kwa sababu baba ameenda kumuchenga. Sasa mtaamuka. Asante.
So thank you, Mommy. Appreciate that. I love the way Kenyans, sometimes behave. Anaitwa nani hapa anasema Raila will never be president. Has Raila asked to become president? Why are we responding to a question that is yet to be raised? That's number one. Number two, how do you benefit by denying Raila presidents or by stopping him from being president? How does it benefit you as an individual? What I want us to learn, and I believe if you're sensible enough, you will take notes.
Bernard, Raila has never been a president. He has sit in that amesongesha president. Kila president anakuja inapiti wanashare that chair na Raila. Mataka moja Raila anakalia. Matako ingine inakaliwa na president. So Raila has been president all this time. Achalala nja, anaenda na magari. So mkituambia hapa Raila has never been president and he never been the president, nyinyi wale munasema hivyo, Raila is very clever. Unamuipia, anarudi anasema this is my seat, munisonge na munasonga.
Okay, there you go. Well, I would want us to begin to sum up, but let us think differently if you're going to have a different Kenya. Let's think differently and let us secure our understanding. We don't all have to agree to with everyone in order for us to coexist in this country. Our constitution recognizes our variety, our differences, and the reason for those differences to exist. And then it calls us to coexist. Coexist means I think differently, I believe differently, but we can still what? Work together when it comes to issues. Kenya. I believe what is happening right now is that everybody needs to understand when we are living and what is expected of us. One of the surprising thing, I got shocked, especially on this channel, on how Gachagua transisted from not being a kingpin, from not being a leader who is worth being followed. As soon as he was impeached, everybody turned. And there is a clip that somebody said. He said, William Ruto is not the problem of some people. The real problem is that he's working with Raila. As soon as Raila walks away from William Ruto, the same people who said William Ruto must go, they will vote for that Ruto. They will campaign for that Ruto because they hate Raila. Anything that goes to Raila is bad. It should not be. Please, let us change. It's important to assess matters for what they should be. So I think whatever that is happening right now, the MOU is just a bridge to where we were going. We are still going where we're going. Let us utilize the temporary bridge and see what will play out. Lakini maswala ya kusema, this should not be, he has betrayed us. I don't think so. And then, of course, kama uko na political weight, you can displace the decisions that have been made. Show up. Let's show up on the street. Let's show up wherever we want to show up and prove ourselves that we can go against this and excel. Until that is done, you are only, we call them what? Keyboard warriors, and of course, online insulters. Your insults are not working. Just work on your capacity. Work on your capacity and prove to Kenyans you can provide better leadership than those that are in leadership. And then come up with the methodology of getting rid of the current leadership. If you don't have that methodology, you don't have that method, or you want to use insult to get rid of the current leadership, I promise you 2027 itakupata hapo hapo ukitusi. Huna voters card, uja confirm whether you are a voter and all that. Ujui IEBC inafanya kazi namna gani, secretariat ya IEBC imetengenezwa haijatengenezwa, commissioners wale wamechaguliwa, are they credible or not? Utapatikana hapa unaendelea kutusi wakati mambo yanaendelea kuharibika. So Wakenya ambao watakuwa suluhisho ni wale ambao wanasema kwa sababu uchaguzi wetu uko na shida, tusiache IEBC ikae vile imekuwa ikikaa. Let us get credible people, only credible people to get into that place. Let us petition our members of parliament. Let's petition that committee that is now looking for the commissioners so that they do the right thing. If we do that, then we are participating in making what happens work. But sitting here and insulting people is not working. Somebody sent me a clip of Salasia. Salasia smoking on camera. Huyo ndio mnasema young people. Huyo si ndio Gen Z. Okay? Smoking, and what is smoking is not smoking the small cigarette. It's smoking the big one and laughing in the camera. So even if I'm blind, I can't give the country to such a person. I don't come from Mumias. I don't vote from Mumias. But if that is all the Mumias East people can produce as leaders, is a bad example, a bad influence to our children. If that is what you want to support, go ahead and support. But me, I respect proper leadership, and I look forward to having a Kenya where all Kenyans don't apologize for being Kenyans. I believe we will have a Kenya where all our children will go to school without choosing where to go to school. In terms of anywhere you go, you will get quality education. That education will be paid for by the government all the way. I believe in the Kenya where all Kenyans will access medical care without caring where they come from, who they belong to, who they don't belong to. I believe in the Kenya for all Kenyans. And as long as that is not attained, we stay in the struggle until that is attained. And so the MOU is not an end in itself, it's a means to an end. It's just a bridge that has been thrown over the river for us to cross. After we cross, get to the other side, we'll choose where to go. So tuache story ya kufikiria kana kwamba this MOU is everything. And even if it's everything, you still have got a choice to choose to agree with it or disagree with it. Here ijasemekana ni Kenya Constitution is an MOU. Okay? MOUs are not recognized in the Constitution. So why are we making it a big deal? Heshima idum. Well, I want us to call it a day, ladies and gentlemen, because of my situation, but I want to call us to order as a people. Tafadhali, tuheshimiane, tutekeleze wajibu, especially millennials, generation millennials, and X. Let us not mislead the Gen Z and the generation Alpha. It is our duty to guide these young people in the right direction. Wanasema, I think it's a West Africa proverb. Nambia kijana ama a young person who learns to wash his hands well, he's invited to eat with elders. A young man who learns to wash his hands well, he will be invited on the table to eat with elders. So there is no leadership that jumps on you because you are a youth. There is a path you must walk through. There must be a track record on how you have risen from one level to another. If we don't encourage that and we think we can insult our way into leadership, we are lying. And let's stop the lies. Let's do the right thing. Let's get this video. After this, we are out of here.
Over united, prosperous Kenya that is inclusive, that we must work together in that manner. I am a great believer that Chebukati believed in that kind of a nation. There are others who believe in other things. Believe in tribes, and they want to discuss tribes and how they are going to work with tribes. That is your choice. We believe in a nation called Kenya. And that is why I serve as president the people who voted for me and those who did not vote for me, because they are Kenyans equally. So tutashirikiana namna hiyo. And as a person who believes in equality, equity, and justice, I will never be part of any policy that categorizes Kenyans into different categories. Siwezi, na nilisema wakati nimechaguliwa ya kwamba tutaweka uwiano wa Wakenya, umoja ya Wakenya, usawa katika taifa letu la Kenya. Hatuwezi kuendelea na mambo ambayo inagawanya wananchi katika viwango viwili. Ati kuna Wakenya wanapata vitambulisho kwa hali moja, alafu kuna Wakenya wengine wanapata vitambulisho kwa kiwango kingine. That is unacceptable, it is undemocratic, it is unconstitutional, it is illegal. And we cannot continue with that kind of parochialism. Hatuwezi kusema jamii fulani ni wagaidi. Wagaidi ni wahalifu. Na tumeona katika uhalifu kwamba haina kabila. Unakuta pale katika wahalifu wamepatikana kuna watu wa makabila zote. So I want to tell the people of Kenya that they will never again be discriminated against in the issuance of IDs on the basis of their religion, on the basis of their ethnicity, or on the basis of the region they come from. It is our responsibility as government to make sure that we protect every citizen. And for the last 2.5 years as president, we have made sure that we have secured and protected our nation. We shall continue to do that going forward without compromising any Kenyan and treating Kenyans differently. Mimi nataka niwaulize ndugu zangu, watu wa Trans Nzoia. Pale nyuma tulikuwa na mfumo.
Well, that is William Ruto for you. He's negating or responding to Natembea's proposal. Natembea spoke very candidly today about the issuance of IDs not being discriminatory against Kenyans, but it needs to be vetted. The vetting has to take place in border districts, and that has been a law all along. Whatever William Ruto is talking about, I don't get it in terms of, he says Wakenya was baguliwe, but who is the proponent of the university funding model that categorizes people according to their poverty? It's not William Ruto who says kama unatoka kwa jamii unapewa unapewa sijui inaitwaje unaingizwa sijui band what, then ukitoka kwa hii jamii unaingizwa kwa band this, then ukitoka kwa hii jamii unaingizwa kwa band hii. So which is which? Is that not ubaguzi wa kugawa wa Kenya in different classes? Then with the same mouth, he's now talking about issuance of IDs. I'm not against any Kenyan not being given ID, but securing our borders is important. Our security should not be compromised. So the people who come from border districts must if we want to secure the country, be wherever, scrutinized before they are given national ID. If we don't want to do that, then let's give ID to everybody. In fact, are we not working on East Africa? We now have East Africa passport. Okay? So let's have East Africa ID. And then let everybody get the ID and then live wherever they want to live. But if we want to keep our borders as Kenyans with Kenyan ID, then the Kenyans should be the only ones to be given Kenyan ID. Lakini kama tunataka kufungua border mtu yeyote, it is not 2 weeks last week where the fishermen in Turkana, was it like Turkana, who are killed by assailants from Ethiopia. They cross the border, they kill our fishermen. And he's telling us he has secured this country for 2.5 years. Is that true? That is food for thought. And I believe we'll scrutinize that in the next show. In the meantime, I want to appreciate everybody. Mama Selina, you give your last word. And then ningependa kushukuru kila mmoja ambaye amefanikisha kipindi hiki. Naomba tafadhali tuendelee ku support kipindi na kusupport channel. Share video hata kama tumemaliza kipindi, watu wengi wapate yale tuliyoyazungumzia. And then of course let's be part and parcel of what makes the channel work, and that is support the channel, tutume michango yetu. Frank had gone for a funeral in the village. He came back today, so he'll be resuming his studies. They lost a relative, so they traveled last week to go for the burial, which took place on Friday. And so he'll be resuming next week. I want to thank all of you that are supporting Frank. I want us to keep that mission going forward. I believe we owe Kenyans that. And the shocking thing is that story of Frank, I'm sure everybody now knows. Your story of Frank is a very moving story, but the way we are responding to it is not encouraging in some ways, and especially politicians. And I'm talking this out of experience. Okay, when you begin to talk about Frank, the young man that was shot, 6 bullets and all that, most politicians, they shut up and disappear. So I don't get it. If it is not a bother to you that somebody has been shot, especially those of you who are saying Baba is in government on the blood of the Gen Z, how are you supporting those Gen Z? Yes, the living ones. Let's not cry about the dead, and we are not securing the living ones. I think, to me, that's a hypocrisy, okay? Or you are just using that as a convenient line to use to push a particular narrative. I want to encourage us, let's come together, let's support Frank. I want Frank to get the best of the best and become all he was required to become. Whatever sort his life, lost it, we should not make him a loser by failing to support him to succeed. So I want to encourage us, come on the forefront. Let's support Frank practically, even as we support this particular channel. Na nashukuru kila moja, tuendelee kuombeana. I believe I will finish my medication and will be here longer than we have been. I look forward to reserving energy for tomorrow's show. Kama kuna maswala mengine, tukutane WhatsApp. You have my number, you can inbox me. And then of course, na ngependa kushukuru wale ambao mmenichangia kwa maswala ya medication. Thank you. I'm using some in fact, what went wrong with my health is that I was given a wrong prescription. I used it didn't work. So it was discovered just 2 days ago. The medication I'm using is not the right one. So it was changed into the right one. And I'm beginning now to feel differently. I'm recovering my energy. I'm able now to sit up, but it was very bad. Anyway, asante sana. Mami, your last word tukiondoka.
Bernard, naona YouTube user anasema pin frank number. Kuna mtu anaitisha namba ya frank.
The frank number is not for public consumption. Contributions are done only through one number on this channel, my number. And then if you want to contribute directly to the kitty, to the account, let me share the link, the PayPal link, okay? The PayPal link that, in fact, is attached to this description of this video. To support Frank, click here. Just check in the description of this video. Utapata hiyo, I think it is there. Let me just confirm. Right, let me find it and then share it here. So tafadhali, Frank is a security matter. I want you to understand that. So his number is cannot be shared in public. Even where he's staying is a security issue. So I want you to have that understanding. It will be very responsible for me to do that. And then, of course, Frank has been adopted by Sound Candy Talk. We are paying their house rent. We are looking out for their upkeep and his studies. So it is a Sound Candy Talk responsibility. Nikependa kila mtu aelewe hivyo. So swala tu la send wherever, get Frank's number and do 1 or 2. And it's also a problem. I gave some of us here connection or rather link to Frank, and we now use it for campaigning, which to me is it doesn't sit well with me. So those are the details. If you want to contribute to the support of Frank, you either use the till number 516575 or +2547184545585. Bernard is the name, or that link, your PayPal. You click on the link, it will take you to the PayPal contribution, and on the PayPal you can choose contribute on his upkeep, contribute on his education, or contribute for his because we believe after he finishes the studies, we open a business for him. So you have a startup account for the same. So you can either use the PayPal account or send directly through those M-Pesa whatever details. Asante. Mami?
Yes, Bernard, tunashukuru. Nafikiri tumesema ya kutosha, na kwa sababu nataka upumzike, ndiye kesho tena ni siku. Tunamwambia watu wale wamekuwa tunafuata, wale wamekuwa kwa TikTok, wale wamekuwa kwa Facebook, tunawakaribisha na tunasema tukuje tuchatiliane, kwa sababu Kenya ni yetu sisi wote, na tuombee nchi yetu. Na wale wanasikia uchungu watulie, kesho ni siku. Thank you, Bernard.
Asante, Mami. Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, we must call it a day. I want to appreciate each one of you. Tumakinike, tupiganie Kenya, tufanye Kenya ikuwe bora. Tusikue sehemu ya kuharibu, tukue sehemu ya kujenga na kusaidia kila Mkenya apate nafasi yake katika mambo mazuri ambayo yanafaa. So on this particular channel, we seek out the welfare of each one of us, and therefore tunakuomba tu ukue hapa kama mmoja wetu na utekeleze wajibu wa kuhakikisha kwamba kuna uwiano. Masuala ya kutusiana, kuitana majina is not our culture, is not part of what we stand for as a channel. Our purpose of doing this show, especially this particular show, is to make sense of our politics as we ease life for the masses. God bless you. Please, let's link up in the next show. With Frank's story, we end.
But the unthinkable happened. Police opened fire on unarmed demonstrators, killing over 20, injuring many, and leaving others unaccounted for. Frank was among the victims. Hit by 6 bullets, yet by God's grace, he survived. After a series of life-saving surgeries, Frank can now walk again. But the bullets left a lasting impact. He can no longer perform heavy-duty jobs to support his grandmother. In their iron sheet home, deep in the slum, is inaccessible by vehicles. In case of a medical emergency, help is far out of reach. To make matters worse, the slum is plagued by insecurity, with daily cases of muggings and robberies. Despite all these challenges, Frank dreams of finishing his education, learning a trade, and building a better life for his grandmother, the woman who has stood by him through every storm. This is where we need your help. In the short term, we aim to move Frank and his grandmother to a safer home where they can access medical care and live without constant fear. Long term, we want to support Frank in completing his education, learning a profitable skill, and starting a small business. I've faced so much, but I'm still standing. I want to work hard, take care of my grandmother, and make her proud. I just need a chance. You can be the change in Frank's life. Every contribution, big or small, will go a long way in helping this brave young man and his grandmother rebuild their lives. Let's come together and help Frank fulfill his God-given destiny. God bless you. Send your donations to Sound Candid Talk, support Frank Okoth account. The link is in the description below. Together, we can make a difference. Don't forget to subscribe, like, share this video widely, and stay tuned for more inspiring stories on Sound Candid Talk.
At Sound Candid Talk, we help your event, trainings, shows, and so more to the world through internet broadcasting in UHD. We provide from 1 to several camera setups and integrate graphics to live in your live streams. For more information, contact us through +2547 18454585 or email at soundcandidtalk@gmail.com. Reach on us today.